Simon, what's going on, bro?
I'm happy to have you
here. Yeah, definitely. I'm happy, bro. Like, you know, it's a long time coming. You know, so like I'm glad. And then I want to give a little shout out to Umbrella Tea for being here, for them sponsoring us essentially. So yeah, shout out Dai. And you know, which one you got?
I got the egg cream top Vietnamese coffee.
Snap.
It was that mix of morning. I still needed a little hit. And
yeah, definitely. Really I went with the watermelon. And I remember how he was just talking about how spicy it is. Like, and I'm like, there is no spice to it. You know what I mean? But it's hot, so hydration.
Perfect summer drink.
Exactly. Exactly. So what's going on, brother? How's it going?
Summer's starting good. Looking to a lot of music, but also a lot of rest. Getting back into working out, health, everything. So summer's kind of my pinnacle of feeling good again, mentally, physically, everything. But yeah.
I mean, definitely. Like, I feel like with the summer like approaching, like with this crazy, like, well, we had our ups and downs in Chicago with like the weather just being like really cold a couple of days, and then after it's just like I don't know, it was like 60s, 70s during winter or something. I'm like, that makes no sense, you know?
Depressing.
Yeah. Like, well, did you get some time to like DJ and stuff like that? Like,
yeah. So we've been putting on more events. Got a little, you know, on-air group. Me and my boys have put together. So. Summer, we're looking forward to like putting a lot more out there. I think with the winter months, there's bigger gaps between things due to holidays like Christmas, Thanksgiving, and all that.
Yeah.
But making sure that like, you know, it's days when it's not miserable out and, you know, getting a lot of people together. With summer, it's easy to kind of get everyone out, come together, and looking forward on top of everything else like ARC, music festivals, all these other things. But yeah.
Right. You know, I feel like we get that feeling that we want to, like, obviously we want to go out, but like I feel like the summer, and there's nothing that beats summertime Chicago, right? So I feel the need of just like, all right, I mean, sometimes you get a little bit of FOMO too, you know, you're like, all right, bro, like I kind of want to like, I want to get outside, you know, like, you know, it's just like one of those things. And like, I wanted to ask, like, how did On Air even start?
So for a long time, I think I put DJing on hold. I was really more so just making music, working. There was some health issues I was going through. So going out was kind of on the back burner of things and figuring myself out. I was going through some stuff as well too. So it didn't kind of occur until I met a few group of people through some really close friends of mine at ARC. And then my one friend, Raka, shout out Raka, really amazing guy, sweet dude. And then eventually from there, just gradually meeting the people he was affiliated with were very similar to how I am in terms of not only music, but just like being a good person in the industry and everything else. So my other friend, Nectar, met him through, shout out Nectar too, head honcho of On Air. He's the one that really kind of pieces together like the bigger decisions, bigger interactions, the networking aspect of it. He's amazing at putting that together. So it was kind of the culmination of all three of us just DJing afters at our friend's place, and it's like, hey, like we have all these people always coming over. It seems like we're starting to build a little bit smaller of a community here and everything. And we started out small. So our first event was like a little Halloween event, and actually popped off pretty nicely here. I mean, it was free event at it was a Matchbox. Okay. A little train car in Chicago and everything.
I've seen that. Yeah.
Sick little vibe.
Sure.
And it was, the first event was pretty stressful because the sound, the connections, everything was like an old school Sonos with like the janky ass connection. We're like, how the fuck are we gonna set up sound in this place? Right. And 20 minutes before going on, putting directions, getting the sound, we finally managed to work, and it turned out better than we expected. And then ever since, like, it was like little holiday things, we're getting people to come out, and now it's starting to become a little bit more regular and everything.
And I see that. I mean, you guys have like consistency in the events, you know, and obviously it's catching on. So is there like a certain theme that you guys like kind of like to portray?
I mean, obviously one thing is like straying away from like, you know, music that's more out there, popular, open decks type music. We really want to curate through like what really gets people dancing, the vibes, a lot of, you know, progressive house, Afro, Latin tech, Latin house. But then there's also kind of giving people the freedom. Like there is no set, you know, we don't expect you to play one thing. It's more of like, yes, we want you to have the freedom to do everything with like limitations to it. Like play what you want, play, like do not ask me what to play. Like just get in there, play what you need to and everything like that. So
I love that. It's
really like no genre's really like outed from it other than, you know, I'm not going to hate on dubstep and, you know, very hard techno at our events, but it is like there's a time and place for a lot of our events. Like After's free for everything, but for our on-air crew, I think the bigger kind of concept is really just like getting a good community out there and everything. And
I love that. Yeah.
we've been really just like having a lot of new artists come through, meeting their groups, and we've met such a great community of like other people. We're like, now like everyone's my friend and everyone's a DJ. It's like we have all these connections where it's like, hey, if you want to play, come through, let us know. Let me know if you want to be put on, because it's not just us three. Now we're having our next event tonight where all three of us that are on air are finally not necessarily playing, but just kind of supporting and having new talent come through, bringing their friends and showing like, hey, like this is a platform where you guys can grow as well too. And
yeah, it's essentially what you're doing is you're building a community, which is amazing, because like, I think in the music industry you need to have a community, right? Like although like even for me when I first started, like it was just like, I'm just gonna do this by myself. I don't want to collaborate with anyone. I'm just gonna be me. And don't get me wrong, collaborations are hard because it's like you kind of have to, and I've done many collaborations where it's just like, no, we're not gonna do this, and then it'll be like 2 years it took me to finish a song, and I'm like, damn it, dude. Like I even went to Hawaii to finish one of my songs, and it took me, like I was just like, all right, I'm gonna go to Hawaii, I'm just gonna work on this song only. And yes, it came out well, but it just like the pressure of just like kind of mending two minds together is difficult, but it's also highly rewarding, right? Absolutely. And in and of its sense, it's just like putting two communities together, like their fan base, the artist fan base with my artist fan base, and it's like now with the collective like yours, it's like we're all like, we're all here for the same vibe, all on the same energy, and like that makes it like that much more respectable, and like you cherish those moments.
Absolutely.
And how do you play, like, when you're playing these sets? Because you did say it's a more free-for-all, right?
Yeah.
And, like, you DJ these events, right? What's how do I want to say this? Your branding behind it for Simon, or Says Who is your DJ name, right? Yep. So how do you portray yourself when you're playing? Like, what kind of songs would you be playing? Or genres and style?
Definitely genres. I'm more targeted. It's taken me many years to really focus on, like, where do I see myself? Like, am I this, am I that, or chasing trends? I think that was one of the bigger issues, is like understanding like, where do I see myself fall into that naturally? And I feel like in the past year, now that before I've only released one little thing every other year and try to play perfectionist, now I've released like so much more this year alone, where I'm finally fine-tuning to the area where it's like really more focused on like Latin house or tech house, but a mesh of that. It's like I love high energy, but I love my bongos, I love my percussive elements. I love my like even though I'm not one nationality either, like yes, I'm half Hispanic, but I'm not tailored to just Latin music. Like I love Middle Eastern references, and like that was one of the reasons like I kind of vibed off of like your song. Was like the second like you put something, I was like, I really like that vibe. And like I just love new elements, different areas of the world that have these different percussive elements in general. Just you can make a nice groove, but not sticking to one genre. But I'm kind of finding my way into that. So playing a lot of like things. I want people busting out their phones. It's like, what the hell is this? I want them to Shazam these things. So it's like always on the discovery of like finding one artist, but not necessarily like a big influence is like Hugo, big guy. You'll hear a Hugo song everywhere you go. But you have people under his label, or like people that are trying to sign tracks, or like I end up like doing my SoundCloud discoveries a lot of the times too, where I'm always looking on SoundCloud rather than what's new in top 50, top 40 nowadays and everything. And a lot of the times people don't know what the tracks I play are unless, but then you still want to throw that in every now and then too.
I find like it is like with my DJing in style, it's like I have to find a balance depending on the set time, right?
Yeah.
How do you, like with your sets, like how do you determine what song you're going to play, or the style of songs that you're going to play within the time frame that you're given that night?
Definitely what's important is, am I going to be the first one on the lineup? Am I closing out? Am I headlining? Is this peak hours? So it's like, yes, when you're kind of putting together a set, you're looking at, do I want to start things bringing in slow, getting a little sexy, getting people on the floor, because it's always, if you are opening, people are getting their drinks, they're kind of on the outskirts of the dance floor. It's important that even though you're opening, that's an opportunity to really get like, hey, I'm still going to get you in the middle here. I'm going to get you right here to dance. Seeing that interaction too. So I feel like you have to plan those things depending on the times and everything as well too. Like peak hour sets, that's when I have the absolute most freedom, because then it's like I can hit every genre I want. Absolutely. Not be so opposite ended. You don't have to change up too much, but like really getting the bigger tracks out there and everything.
Right.
While if you're closing out, that's when I really want to get into like the underground stuff that people haven't heard but still have high enough energy where people are they don't want to go home yet. You don't want to slow it down. So I think preparation is key a lot of the times. A lot of the times I do maybe a lot of my prep work in terms of like updating my library weeks before, but in terms of how I am as a person, I'm the biggest procrastinator on that. I feel like the last like 10 events that I've done, it's like, well, shit, it's the night before and I'm putting together a playlist. I'm like, oh, crap. So I feel like I don't want to focus on it a lot of times, because sometimes I go in there with an estimated playlist of what I go in there, and then either I power through it time-wise too fast, or I see the vibe isn't working. And then it's like halfway through, I'm like, scratch that, let's just vibe. And sometimes that's the most successful times.
It is.
Just like just winging it and just feeding off the energy of the crowd a lot of times.
I feel like a lot of it is understanding, because like I don't have a degree in psychology, but I feel like you kind of have to have some sort of psychological, and you need to be in tune psychologically to be able to understand people and how they feel when you're DJing. You know, like you have that psychological power, or at least you're exercising that skill, you know, when you're DJing, because it's like you come in with some kind of like vibe and you're like, all right, like I got like my 110 songs that I'm potentially going to hit tonight, because I would hate to like start looking for songs. So like my record box is like, all right, these are like at least 110 songs I'm gonna potentially play tonight. Let's just see how they feel. Yeah. And it's like, all right, that's like my way of preparing, right? But then let's just say it's like more people are feeling this style of music now. Like I did a New Year's event at Fame, right? Yeah. And it was just like I had my New Year's like song playlist. I'm like, all right, like they're gonna love these songs. But then like all my Latin reggaeton songs were hitting, you know? So I was like, oh man, like, and the guy, they came up to me, they were just like, yo, bro, like keep like playing reggaeton. I'm like, man, I'm a little limited.
You're like, I was like, but this track though.
But this track, like I want to hit this one too, you know? Like, and I DJ'd right on New Year's. Like it was 2000 and going into 2025. So I was like, I had a peak hour set right now. I was like, oh my God, I better kill this shit, you know? And I primarily don't even play a lot of like hip hop and reggaeton either, because like I'm specific to my genre, you know? And with that being said, like, was there a turning point for you where you were like playing commercial stuff, or like you just went straight into DJing? Because like okay, hold on, let me take a step back and then let's build this. When did you start DJing?
Let's go to day one.
Yeah, let's go to day one. Exactly, yeah.
Day one, I think that was back in end of high school. Bought my first little Hercules 2-deck thing. Yeah. Virtual DJ, because I only knew the concept of virtual. I didn't know there was other software back then. So this takes it back really. 6th grade, Mexico vacation with the family, Cancun. I'm the kid posted up at the little swim up bar, and there's this dude playing music. And I've always had like interest in music that wasn't like, you know, the only music I listened to back then was Now CDs at the time and everything. So it's like, I didn't really know what music I listened to. I had even like one kid say like, what music do you even like? And then it's like, I had no answer. Right. And I'm like, Now CDs? I'm like, I didn't know there was artists. I didn't know what music necessarily was. Then shit sounded good to me. Yeah. And then it was until that 6th grade vacation, hearing like classics like Stereo Love was played at it was like
Edward Maya,
Edward Maya, and just hearing that, and I was in 6th grade drinking my virgin pina colada at the swim up bar. I'm like, what is he doing? What is that? And he told me virtual DJ. Didn't know what DJing was. I didn't know what anything really was. He's just machine full of stuff. Right. It was until like that whole summer, like talking with my parents, I'm like, where can we find it? And they were even actively going through the airport, little shops. Where's virtual DJ? What is virtual DJ? No, my parents didn't even know at the time. It was only until way later, just doing my own research, and finally through junior high, discovering what I like: early house music, electronic, techno, happy hardcore stuff, Gigi D'Agostino, Benny Benassi, early Tiesto, and
definitely. I mean, there was like the what was it? Jump Style back in the day. I used to DJ Jump Style too. Like, man, like back in the day. I mean, I still like Jump Style.
Jump Style, Hardstyle. That was my stuff back then too. And it's like
Dance Factory.
Dance Factory. You're in the mix. That was like the radio station. Also DJ Infinity. Garrett. Even now, taking care of the industry now. Like I was listening to stuff that he was putting out. I didn't even know he was in the area and everything. And then it's just like listening to his mixes. It's like, how are these getting put together? And it wasn't until senior year of high school, I can afford shit and realize I can buy software and this is how you make music. This is what you do.
Right.
So first essential play cue button was pressed on beginning of summer when I graduated high school, and I could afford gear at that time.
And that's kind of how it starts too. You know, like it's just like, I mean, I don't know how your parents were, but like my parents were like, "What is this?" Like, you know, and I'm like, "Well, like, you know, you just press play and you just go from one song to another." They're like, "That's what you do?" Like, I'm like, "Yeah, that's really it." They're like, "All right, whatever."
Yeah.
You know, but like, I totally get it. Like, so okay, I totally get how it feels. Then going into your first, okay, so you were practicing, right? Obviously, because you're doing your thing.
Yep.
What happened after that?
I think more so that was, the summer was really just fucking around, find out type of thing. I don't know how it was for you. It's just maybe experimenting and fuck up is the best way to learn, in my opinion. So it wasn't until freshman year of college, got accepted into UIC, did my undergrad there and everything. So dorm there, I think I didn't need to dorm. My parents really wanted me to stay at home, be in the basement. Maybe I should have, but at the same time, just getting away and really focusing on myself and learning who I am and everything.
Right.
I was in my dorm room all year, doing classes, bullshitting my classes, and just DJing in my room nonstop. Right. Was I going to parties? No, I was not a party person.
You already had the party.
I didn't drink. I didn't do anything. I was just really just like, I was in my dorm room just literally just mixing.
Right.
And it was way later until I realized I met some people that actually, you know, vibed with music at that point, because I would be going to my shows by myself. North Coast was my first event I went by myself, had my little camera, my little flip phone, the flip camera with the flip out USB, just recording the whole entire set of every single artist that like I didn't know at the time, but it was around that portion where I was just DJing in my room nonstop by myself, going to shows by myself. I was doing everything just kind of like you, just like by myself. There was no collaboration. There was no like, hey, I had homies supporting. It was just doing what I kind of liked at that point.
Absolutely, you just had an interest in it, and you just dove right in.
Exactly. I feel like that's when I was at my 100%, just like giving everything my all. School, I'm sorry, my degree was on the back burner of things. Yeah. Still doing okay, but it was more so doing music in my dorm room nonstop. And it wasn't until like sophomore year meeting people that like, people like, hey, I want you in my frat. I want you in this frat. I still said no to every frat, but I was DJing every frat party at that point there.
That's awesome.
And, you know, getting to the point where like little decks can only get so far. I think that's when I upgraded to like Tractor's system and everything. So I was working on the Tractor S4 my mixing. 4-deck mixing, very complex things. I started doing YouTube videos at the time.
There you go. That
was the easy days, I feel like. I don't know, how was it for you when you first started, like in terms of like sharing things out there or getting traction? Was it more was it uploading to SoundCloud or like how was it for you?
Yeah, I mean, like for me first, I don't really remember. I just remember more so like being in the idea of like, yes, there was a YouTube. Okay, so the first thing I used to do was making mixes. Yeah. Right. So like I used to be part of like a group called House Rehab with one of my friends, Junar. So then we started.
I remember Junar does art now and shit like that. I actually DJed. I think I DJed with Junar at like a house party back in the day at UIC.
Oh really? Okay.
He was, him and his girl were doing a back to back when I don't remember much about it. But
yeah. So we used to have that. That's like, man, going back like way back in the day. It was me and Junar. He would do his sets, and then we were also DJing at like Inferno, which is like hookah lounges and stuff like that. But there were never really like any like time where I felt like I needed to make videos until really just like when then I started working with like, eventually I want to fast forward to like really DJing like in the 21 up clubs, and people just took videos, but still it wasn't like so popular to be like making content all the time, you know? Whereas like compared to now, it's like you need to have content one after another.
I feel like we're gonna touch on that even more later, but man, it has fucking changed so much.
Absolutely. But like then a lot of it is just like I just started just being more confident in myself. And then what I like to do is like, all right, I started coming out with podcasts based off of, there was this thing called Podomatic.com, I believe. And I know people like Nathan Scott, Mix and Mark was on there. I think I think Flipside was on there, but I know Nathan Scott, I had like all of his episodes, you know? And it's crazy enough that like I DJ with him now and like Celeste and stuff. But before, like, and he's not even gonna remember this, but my first time ever DJing, it was me, first time DJing with Nathan Scott.
In like a club setting,
in a club setting, was at Energy Nightclub. It was me, Junar, and Nathan Scott. I have a picture of it too.
Oh.
And it was just like, and now like fast forward like 10 years and I'm DJing with them. But still, like videos, like that's like when like pictures of like you're at the club, you'll take of you, and then you'll find it on like
you look
MySpace.
like the little kid, like hey, it's me.
Yeah, exactly. I'm around, you know, like hey.
Just maybe less facial hair at the time.
Dude, looking like a baby. It's like, what the hell was I doing at Energy Nightclub? Paint parties and shit, like foam parties. Those are disgusting, honestly. Who wants to go to a club, get painted on, and like foam? Like, dude, like it was some nasty shit that I was like, all right, whatever, dude. It's not for me. I'm not trying to go to the club looking all nice, leave all dirty at like 4 a.m. Like, what do I look like, you know? But like, yeah, then it just really, I started doing fashion shows and stuff. So like naturally, I started becoming like in front of the camera, right? Like I just kind of happened, and then. Yeah, now it's just like I want to help the community with these like Mind of a Mind like podcasts and stuff like that. So then it's just like I think I'm getting better at being on camera.
No,
you know?
you definitely.
I'm trying to get all.
I'm getting that vibe 100%. You are definitely what I gauged from it too. You are on that more confident dive into it.
Yeah.
Me, I'm more the intrinsic shy guy for the most part, and I feel like that was one of the bigger complications. Kind of what even still to this day that I'm dealing with is like. I thrive in silence and just in myself in the studio at like 2 a.m. Versus like being seen and everything. It's like even getting into it, I didn't do it for nowadays. It's like I think there's a big thing with like image and now anyone can DJ. There's like that perceived Instagram DJ realm of things, which, you know, granted there's success in it. You know, praise to those people, but going into it, I did it because I was interested, but even getting out into like the DJ, like I never really dove into the club scene right off the bat. It was really DJing like smaller things for my friends, which led into like small bars, which led into like frat parties. I feel like I never even went out to parties because it was just like, I was like kind of that kid who was just like, I don't like to be part of the party. I wanted to curate the party. And then like being a DJ was able to gain, you know, confidence in myself to just be out there. But it was nice because I wasn't the center of attention. It's kind of like making everyone have a good time, but that kind of came with the like people approach you rather than, you know, you're the kid with the little Coors Light, like hey bro, what's up? Like, how you doing? Like college parties were not my thing like that. But once I started DJing, like you met people that had interest in that, and it's like great, I can connect. It was like versus you're in a party. You go and try to connect and realize this isn't a relationship I want to build, or it's like it just seems forced. And even to this day, it's like I still struggle with it. And I feel like in the past year and a half is when I've truly met people that I can actually really connect with. Versus everyone else, it's hard for me to make connections with a lot of people because they don't have the same goals or same personality or something like that.
Absolutely.
And I feel a lot more. So thank you for having me first off on here because I don't do well on these things. I'm not. If it was just me, I think you're a natural. I'm like, where do I touch it? I was like, where's my coffee? Where's my? I need something to hold. And even like when I'm DJing, like I feel like I'm always locked in downwards. I don't need the waveforms, but I'm locked in to just look down a lot of times. I just need to look up sometimes, and it's sometimes. It's helped me grow too, DJ. Like the more I'm doing this, and now it's more club setting and bigger places, bigger venues. I have to do this because I have to see how the crowd is engaging. I want to engage with more people, even online. I want to engage with the community. I want to slowly build and
I think you're already doing that. I mean, I see your page, and you're already like, you know, making more posts about like what you do, like really putting yourself out there. My thing is the same way. Like I used to be so nervous that like I would probably always mess up my first transitions out of like the other person that was DJing before me, you know? Or like I just really didn't know how to gauge the crowd. But it's like really the confidence came just based off of just like, all right, bro, like, and I still get nervous. Just like, bro, you prepared already. Like if you're prepared, then like just let it all come in. And I mentioned this in other podcasts before that like I always got the butterflies before I DJ. If I don't now, I feel like it's wrong.
Everybody's like, I gotta go to the bathroom.
It's like, all right, dude, I'll be back. And then it's really just like, it's like, then like shifting, like, you know, I know I have like a persona when I'm out versus like my day to day. You know, my day to day, I'm dipped, right? And then when I'm TEHJ, that doesn't mean I'm better than anybody or that doesn't mean anything like that. It's just like, I put on a different cape in a way because I'm just like, all right, like, look, during your set, you have to be an entertainer. Like they are gonna look at you. That's the whole point. Like when you go to a comedy show, like what are they looking at, right? Like they're obviously looking at you. So like you gotta kind of build that like character. And I'm just like you, bro. Like I don't like to talk. Like if you see me at parties, I'm not really talking to people. I don't really go out. I dance in the dance floor, maybe if I drink, but like I've been sober, you know. So like I just kind of like sit in the background and I'm just kind of like, all right, like I like to talk to people.
Yeah.
That's like how I am. I'm a little bit too talkative, I feel like, you know?
Me
But
too,
like,
so I apologize if I yap too much and cut you off.
But like, it's not more so like for me. It's not because like I'm
Yeah.
nervous. I like to get to know people, you know. But like at the clubs, like, and that's why I haven't really been going out as much, is because of like these conversations mean more to me than me going to a club. I have a drink in my hand. Yes, I'm standing next to you,
Absolutely.
but like I don't really know what to talk to you about with because it's fucking loud as shit. You know what I mean? Like, it's like now I'm just there listening to people, taking shots with them versus like, all right, I know you. And this is like our first real time hanging out.
Exactly.
But like we do chat, you know? But like this is more valuable to me than like going out every single weekend and then just pretty much popping
100%.
bottles. And we do pop bottles and we do live a nice life. Like, you know, a lot of people, we're blessed to be able to do what we do as entertainers and having the community that we have. But a part of it's like still like I mean I'm big on fashion, so like fashion and like looking good, like that, all that stuff is confidence to me, you know. And you're fly too, you know what I mean? So let's go.
I try.
Let's go, my guy.
Shout out to my wife for also telling me change that outfit.
Yeah.
I think it was until like I was literally wearing my shit from high school. It'd be like Adidas pants and like fitted stuff, and then like after we went to Paris, I was like, damn, my fashion game got to change real quick. And then shout out to my buddy Marco. Marco, I love you. Love this guy. He always DJs in the city too and everything, but just a baggy look. And I was like, you know what, you can still be comfortable and still look good at the same time.
Definitely.
Taking inspiration from that, but yeah, it's like, I still need work on. I know my jewelry game weak as hell and everything like that, but you are always looking good, my guy.
My God, I appreciate you. So going back into production, so you were DJing, all right, you know, you're working, you've been doing your content, and I know you do it more so now, but you're also a producer as well.
Absolutely.
You shifted into both now. You're a DJ producer. How did you really step into that world?
I think at that same time when I discovered virtual DJ mixing, everything like that, it was like I still had to figure out like how are these songs even made. Back then as a kid, I was like, oh, they're making like a guitar and a piano. They're doing it live. But then like I didn't know the computer aspect behind things. So then it was kind of figuring out like little ways of like how it was made. My friend, he just moved to Utah. Back after high school. His name's Alex. Really close friend of mine, even though I'm not as actively communicative with him because anytime someone moves, it's hard to keep up with external things and everything. But he showed me this software. It was called, it was like Reactor. It was some Reason.
Yeah,
very complex. Very complex. He was making drum and bass, and like through him, I was like, I didn't realize how much was like computer based and the technicality behind everything. And then it was until I was like, this system is too complex for me, and I realized there was other DAWs out there. Tried Fruity Loops. Fruity Loops was more kind of toy-like to me. I tried it, I gave it a go, but I still didn't really understand it. And it was only until later on I found Ableton through my other buddy. And then just Ableton was more streamlined for me. I feel like it was just
so much
very
easier.
it's so crisp. You see automation and all the lines, everything's there for you. Tutorials were very like easy to kind of follow and get along with. So it was Ableton. I cracked software, obviously. I was broke as hell at the time, but I'm sorry. I'm sorry for that.
Bro, I actually talk about the cracked software actually in a video. But no, keep going.
I think it was like Ableton. I don't remember what version I got on at that point there, but it was really just tinkering on that freshman year of college. And same thing, it would be, my nights were more curated to DJing, getting sets, and then during the day, between studying at the library, I would have my laptop and just be making like my 4x4 kicks, my little hi-hats. It's like, all right, like there's those things. But back then there was no samples. There's no, like I don't know where samples. I don't know how to get samples or anything like that. So it was just like the pre-stock kicks and everything, and like the software that came with it. It was like I was just using stock plugins. Operator on it. I was learning operating everything. So it was literally just me on like a Novation Launchpad, like the 8-bit, that just nonstop just pushing buttons, just nonstop. I didn't have a little MIDI keyboard at that day, but I was just pushing buttons, making sounds, sound design. I was big on sound design at the time, and that's what like I feel like taught me a lot. But it was until like later on, like software comes out and like updates come out. Now you can get samples from anywhere. You can, you know, rip your favorite YouTube video of like an old TV show and you just got a vocal, and it's like getting these things, and it's like just messing up. And you know, I would make just stupid songs for my friends where I was just sleeping over my buddy's place and just like would be like hungover the next day. I'd be DJing across the bar across the street, and I'd be like sampling the dog barking, him saying like my friend like speaking in an Arnold accent, like get to the chopper, and like making a drop before, I'm like fuck it. It was just like stupid shit like that, and then like hitting multiple genres. That's just like, that's what taught me to like make sound and don't be scared. You don't have to be perfect, but
And that's the whole thing about being creative, right? I feel like with music, like, and that's what I would do too. It's got to be on the spot. It's got to be like, and it became like more like robotic. I feel like, you know, where like now, like even with you're saying like Latin music and like Latin house and like, you know, with like the percussion and everything, there's a swing to it, you know, and that's what makes your body move, right? Like at the end of the day, so like with music, it's never been about being perfect. It's like how do you build something out of chaos? Like there's a beauty in the madness, you know, and I don't want it to be too chaotic because there is that sense of making music and you add too many layers and you just don't understand, like even you can't comprehend what the hell you made, or like you show a friend and it's like I know one of my friends, I might have mentioned this before, but like my friend Khalik, like I sent him a song and I was just like what do you guys think, you know, like it was in a group chat and they're like, you know, it's cool, but like, what is it supposed to be? You know, he didn't understand that. I'm like, well, it's supposed to make you dance, like, you know what I mean? But they just didn't really understand it, you know?
Do you feel like there was times like tracks like that? Do you feel like there was too many elements and it's like you're trying to do too many ideas, and like were they kind of guiding you towards stripping things back and like where's the concept behind it?
That's really what it is, you know? I think like with music, like you can start off by like pretty much just like throwing everything at the wall. That's kind of like what I do, right? Like when I start, especially with percussion too, like I'll just throw a bunch of percussions like together, and then I'll start to I'll go back and forth. And I'm not sure if you do this, but I'll what's it called? I have the song, and then I'll have like, let's just say 4 stacks of percussions, like hi-hat, kick, you know, bongos, let's just say,
toms
and then toms, let's just say toms. Now I have this sample of toms, and then I have like the hi-hats or whatever, and then they like somehow for some reason one don't fit, right? Because they like, or they might be clipping on each other because like they go right over each other and the pitch is still the same, right?
Yeah.
So I can go 2 ways, right? Like I'll be like, all right, well, I can lower the tom. Well, toms are already low, right? So like maybe I higher the tom and lower the hi-hat a little bit for them to kind of like mash, or like I guess like a tom and a kick, or tom and a kick, or a tom and a bass, because like there are higher like mid frequencies in a bass.
You
right?
don't want to overload the low end.
Yeah, I think that's a better example, right? So like I would like maybe higher the tom a little bit so the bass will pull through within the frequency, right? Or vice versa, like even with the bass and the kick, it's like, all right, well, like yes, I like to cut all my kicks off at like, you know, nothing lower than 30 hertz, because like your ears and your ears and your body can't feel anything lower than 30 hertz, right? It's 30 hertz or kilohertz? 30 hertz.
Numbers.
Yeah, right, numbers.
And
now
you still ask me the exact frequency there, so I'm like, you know, just cut off that much.
Yeah, that much, bro. Like, because like if this
I was
is
like,
the
you're
box,
at numbers. I'm like,
it's
15 years later, I'm like, yeah, somewhere in there.
right there, like all the bottom end, because that's all mud. You know what I mean? I'm not, dude. I've always been bad with math, and I've always been bad at science. Like, but like I like figure shit out. You know, I'm just like, that's how it's supposed to look. But like, still, like, if I have a certain kick for a certain song, like I might pitch the kick higher, so the bass is really rumbling on the bottom, but the thump is still gonna be there. But I'll like shorten the kick too a little bit, so it's not a long kick. So when the bass hits, when the kick hits, the bass will just kind of dip, right? But if it's a long ass kick like this big, then like the bass is gonna dip because you sidechain it, and it's like too much. Now it's like, all right, what are you trying to get to? Like, is the kick more important or the bass more important for the song, right? And each song is different. So like I might pitch the kick higher, and then, you know, so like I kind of go about it that way. And like that's really like how I approach it. I kind of forgot the train of thought, because like when you're talking about music, you can get like all crazy, you know, like you're like, all right, there's this. But yeah, it all kind of depends on, essentially, I kind of forgot a train of thought. But
It's
that's okay.
I feel like we just locked it. It's like, yeah, and I was like, please tell me more about this, because I know exactly. I don't know if everyone's gonna know what the hell we're talking about. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Right.
But was there a certain artist that you gravitated towards that like you wanted to either like not necessarily replicate, but it got inspired from, that like led you to the genre that you're kind of into
absolutely.
right now?
I mean, all right, so there has been, like, at first, when I first started, I was watching a lot of like Eric Murillo, Carl Cox, Green Velvet, Tiesto, like Hardwell. Nicky Romero was a huge inspiration too, because he like those kinds of like electro house sounds is like really what I was like into, you know. Then I got really into tech house as well, like really like Mark Knight stuff, you know. And I think he's here tonight. at Spy Bar tonight.
Shit.
Yeah, he's here tonight. Yeah, it's crazy that I mentioned that, you know? So then like that, and then obviously then being around like our Chicago like world, you know, I've DJed with Mix and Mark, and then Bam Bam, Infinity, Alex Peace, who else? Flipside, those guys. You know, just there's a lot of people that have like, you know, influenced me to be like who I am. And then like now it's like, I feel like I'm really good with like bass music, right?
Yeah.
But like, I don't want to say bass music specifically. I want to say bass driven music, but that does not mean like dubstep or anything. It's just like that bass needs to thump. It needs to be heavy.
Yes.
Like I want my bass to be very important, you know? That's like the most thing. So right now I'm like really big on UKG. Yes, there might be elements of like dubstep and stuff, but like that, to be honest, I really got into like really because of Sammy Virgi, Humdy, Fred again,
They're
like
killing
all
it
that.
now with everything. And like
Yeah.
a good one was your remix of John Summit's. Like that one I feel like was very you. And I'm
Lights
like,
Go Out,
this
yeah.
is what I understand. Like the bass driven way that I feel like you're gravitating for it. It doesn't speak dubstep. It doesn't do just this. It's like a mesh of like, it doesn't necessarily feel like full blown EDM, but I'm like, this is still like, still makes you want to dance, but
Yeah.
it fits into like also that kind of area where like it can be played on the radio. I'm like, this is really good. And
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I gotta have a little bit of grunge
Yeah,
to it, you know?
yeah.
Like I used to make a little bit more fruitier music, like, I don't want to say like, you know, but like, it's just like, they were very like playful and like, they were very like commercial based. I still kind of want to make commercial music, like, and a lot of it's just like I do like DJing and like, but I gotta be able to play, I want to play a lot of my own music. That's why I got into it, you know? Otherwise, like, I kind of just want to sit at home, like, you know, like I want to be like a Pharrell or like Calvin Harris. Like, you don't see them DJ as much. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like they make music.
They
That's
have
like,
they're like, I'll play this one a couple times a year. Absolutely, they're more active back then, but I feel like they've just come in the full studio, and I'm like, I absolutely love that. Like taking that break, like a lot of artists are getting burnt out on like just being.
Yeah.
I think one of the bigger things, I know not necessarily genre that we're big fans of, but like Rez took like a full. Big dubstep, she's fucking insane.
right?
Love her, but like
it's like mid-tempo music.
yeah, and then she just completely put like a full stop. Like my health is more important.
Right.
Gotta take breaks, and so like making sure burnout's important too. Like even right now, like I'm going through some health issues and stuff. So making sure we're finding the balance of like I need to sleep good. I need to make sure my health is good.
Right.
I mean, you just said you're sober too, and it's like cutting out alcohol has been the absolute biggest thing too, which
100%.
I feel like a lot of artists, even just like local DJs too, are like realizing the importance. Like you don't have to
Yeah.
go out and be fucked up all the time. It's like, no.
That's all I know, though. To be honest with you, it's really just like, and that's what became such a problem for me, right? It was like, for me, it was like, I like being in a routine. I have a great job. Like I do music and I do all this stuff too. But I actually have a 9 to 5, right? Like just like you. And I actually want to ask you about that. But
Yeah.
real quick, it's just the idea of that. Like it really would like hurt my work, or like it would just make everything 10 times harder. You know, like right now I'm on a sprained ankle and I'm already pissed that like I have to do like I have
Shout
to
out
walk.
to this man, limping here.
Yeah,
to
just like
our interview.
carrying everything. I'm like, all right, dude, we gotta do this. We gotta stay on point. You know, but like when you're hungover and shit, like regardless, you just don't give a shit. You know, like because you're hungover, and like I didn't want to be that person that damaged relationships for me. It damaged myself. I just drank way more than I should, and like. It was either, for me, it was always a thing it was just like, it's either I'm sober or I'm fucked up. Like, there is no in between. Like,
Yeah.
Dip doesn't just get, like, just chill. I can't just have one chill drink. And the people that are watching this, you guys are probably going to know, you know? It's like, yeah, I know what he's talking about. I've had a story with that guy before. And I'm like, fuck. Which one is it, though? Let me, because there are some good ones. There's a lot of good ones, actually. But there are those times where I would slip up, right?
Yeah.
There are those, like, and it's not a lot, but there has been times, and it's just like, it's embarrassing. It's not right. And just couldn't handle my liquor, you know, to be honest. So like, this is like my way of like, all right, like I can still be chilling with the homies in the industry, still make music with them, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I need to go out and party tonight, because I still got shit to do when I wake up. So I just load myself up with work, you know, and like hanging out with quality people like yourself, you know. But yeah, I was gonna ask you, with work, how do you balance like the work DJ balance? Like, how do you kind of?
It's still a good question till this day. I think that's the biggest obstacle, honestly, finding it's not just work-life balance, it's work-life music, rest, balance, health. It's everything thrown at once. And it's like, you got so many hours in the day, and I'm fortunate enough where, I'm a dental hygienist as well during the day and everything. It's taken me a few years to get to the point where I primarily work just Monday through Thursday. It's taken a lot to get to that point. Yeah. I used to be Monday through Saturday, but then post-COVID, it's like you're hazmated up hours on end and you're like, this is a lot. Yeah. And then it was until I was fortunate enough to gain the opportunity to just selectively have my days and just realizing Friday through Sunday, I'm off. Right. So that helped a lot in terms of not only at home taking care of, my family, my wife, my dog, my cat. Yeah, they're adorable. Cooking, cleaning, shopping, taking care of stuff. Yeah, taking care of what is actually important, making time for family, but also taking care of your health while including relationships and like hanging out with everybody. It is difficult, and I think the bigger thing now, it's challenging where it's like, you come home from work, you're tired, but you want to make sure you're being healthy. Do you do grocery shopping, gym today? Do you just do gym today? Do you go home and cook? Or do you just go home and just rot because you had a bad day? Yeah. And then on top of that, when it's like, quality time with your partner is important as well too. And it's like, but then that's the day it's like, I'm feeling creative. I want to make music. And then you end up getting into the zone and it's like 1 a.m. and it's like, shit, I got to go to bed. Right. So it's like, I think making a routine is important. Right. I feel like my Monday through Thursday is pretty much making sure I'm getting sleep, resting, partner, eating good. And then when it comes to my Friday through Sunday, that's when it's really like relationships with my friends, going out, spending time, having my studio days. Like there's days my wife's at work for 8 hours on end and I'm just like locked in. And I'm like, and sometimes I can be bad with that. Sometimes I could not be in the studio and I'm just sitting there like watching shows or just like wasting time. And it's like, I have to be self-disciplined like that. My self-discipline, I think that's the bigger thing with a lot of people, is just self-discipline is huge in creating a good, healthy routine at this point there, which I'm still learning. Yeah, of course, I think we all are, but something that you mentioned earlier when we just like met this morning is that like taking a break. Just because like you might be, and I want you to kind of chime back in and like say what you said to me earlier, is that like, and I responded by saying that it's a good thing to take breaks, and it's just like that you stepping away from music and you watching TV or, you might be thinking you're wasting time, but it's essentially how you might even get inspired or be like, oh, like you might get an inspiration from a TV show or like a song that was being played on the TV or the movie or something, right? Stuff like that. Yeah. Or like, absolutely. For me, like if I don't watch TV, like that's how I like pretty much decompress. Like because I have anxiety and it sometimes like peaks really high, I need to watch TV. Like, I just need to everybody to shut the fuck up and like, bro, just leave me alone. I'm going over there watching my show. Yeah. And it's something that I've watched before, but it's just like for me to just like calm my nerves down. Center yourself a little bit, calm down. You
know what I mean? And do you find yourself doing like stuff like that? Or
a lot. Yeah. A lot. Granted, it's like, I play a lot of video games sometimes to decompress and stuff like that, just to take my mind off of things. And again, there has to be some self-control limit, because it can get to the point where it's like, oh shit, 4 hours, I'm like, I could have been working on my track, right? Stuff like that. But it just depends on the day that you're having. But yeah, taking a break, super huge, because there's years that have happened where it's like, some days I'm DJing more, sometimes I'm producing more, sometimes I'm doing nothing. And it's coming to the fact where like school, relationships, and everything like that were in the mix of those years. So I've had periods where I was more, prominent in each of those aspects. And there was a time I did absolutely none of that. Yeah. And it was only until like almost like close to 2 years ago. It's about to hit 2 years when I was DJing for years. I didn't have decks at home. I had old shit, but I was just making music here and there. Yeah. And it's like finding that break. No, I'll just have it leaning close, like you might grab it.